Hello everyone, Matt here, and welcome to Simply Strength. Today I thought I would talk about a topic with particular relevance to my own life, but also for many millions of people across the world. That topic is tinnitus, from the Latin meaning to ring, and refers to a ringing sound originating within the human ear without any external sound source. It is a condition that I've had since February 2012 and still have today. It's remarkably prevalent, with over 50 million Americans reporting the condition in a cross-sectional study in 2010, to which I put a link below. In the UK, where I live, persistent tinnitus is reported by approximately 10% of the population. This illustrates that I'm not alone in my condition, and the prevalence of tinnitus is quite alarming. Why, you might ask, is this condition relevant to Simply Strength and the goals of this channel? This will become clear as I go on, but for a better understanding of the condition, I'll need to go through my experiences to date. Although this video may have the most relevance for tinnitus sufferers, I believe there are aspects of this condition that transfer to other areas of life and may be useful for those with an interest in personal development and self-improvement. As I mentioned during the introduction, my tinnitus began in February 2012. I'd been to a heavy metal concert at a small club in Birmingham to watch one of my favourite bands from Germany, Edguy. The show was fantastic, and although it was loud, after all it was heavy metal, it was not perceptibly intrusive, and I was not aware of any ear pain during the gig. For the record, although I played in a heavy metal band during my mid to late teens, I did not gig frequently, and between that time and getting tinnitus, I saw about 2 shows per year. Therefore, it was not like my ears were undergoing constant abuse, and later, audiograms would show my hearing to be very good. After the show, I got home and was unaware of any ringing, but I did notice the same dulled hearing that we all experience at one time or another from loud music. A few days later I noticed a rather quiet humming or buzzing in my right ear predominantly. I had to listen very hard for it and tune into it for me to really hear it. The fact that it was there though, even if I didn't hear it all the time, bothered me greatly. After 2 weeks it was still there and I began to doubt that it would ever go away. I wound myself up and believed that it was getting louder. At night and in the morning especially it was the worst, because in the silence that was all there was to listen to. I began making myself absolutely exhausted, such as staying awake until 5 AM, so I had no choice but to sleep. This was counterproductive, because I was finishing my final year at university and working on my dissertation thesis. By this time I had seen the GP a few times, and they couldn't do anything, but I managed to get referred to an ENT. I was told that I had a deviated septum and some nasal drainage, and I noticed that my ears would pop and splutter all the time when yawning and swallowing. I had a few audiograms done to check for hearing loss, but all of them came back fine. So as far as I was concerned, my hearing was fine, and there was no destruction there that was perceptible anyway to modern analysis techniques. The cause of the ringing or buzzing was annoying in its absence. It was like having an itch that you can't scratch. It was easy to fall into the feedback loop of worry, tricking yourself into thinking that the noise is getting louder, which only made it worse. At one point, and the only time in my life that this has happened, it felt like I was having a panic attack. The feeling of impending doom came over me, as if I was trapped in my head and the only way out was suicide. My breathing was erratic, and it took a lot to calm me down and relax. I managed to slow my heart rate and assess things and really take stock. Initially, I had been using classical music to mask the noise at night, but I found that this made me hate music that I enjoyed, as I associated those negative emotions with the music. So I thought I would take ownership of the noise, welcome it in, and condition myself to love it almost. I knew this would be hard, and it is a continuing journey that extends to the present day, but more on this in a moment. I managed to finish my undergraduate project and got high marks, despite the underlying problems. Subsequently, I moved away and did a master's degree, living alone on campus. This worried me, as moving from the family home with that support network, I thought I would be completely alone if something bad happened, which it didn't. It was an irrational fear from mentally battling this condition. For someone to understand that doesn't have it, on the outside everything is fine, but on the inside it is like someone is dripping water on your head, like water torture, and you have to condition yourself to accept it as normality. You have to trick your mind into believing it's normal, like putting on some socks and shoes. After a couple of years I was sleeping fine, and without any noise masking, such that I can now in the present day sleep in silence with this in the background. I would say that now it bothers me about 20% of the time, and as far as I can tell has been fairly constant. Every so often I have a loud shrill noise in my right ear, which was very scary the first time it happened, but now happens once a month or so. I gave up with pursuing a cure because one doesn't exist at the moment. However, a lot of research is being done, and I truly believe that one will materialise before long, whether in the form of acoustic therapy or a drug. I have resisted falling into the trap of quack treatments, and being a scientist, I will only follow the peer-reviewed academic literature for potentially effective treatment strategies. I would strongly advise sufferers to hear my strategies outlined below, and also check out the links to the BTA and ATA websites. These stand for the British Tinnitus Association and American Tinnitus Association, which have some great resources which I'm sure will be of help to you. Scientists have established that tinnitus originates in the brain, not the ear, and are now starting to truly realise the neuroscientific causes of the condition. I'm sure that before too long, new and innovative treatment strategies will emerge. Now, here are my tips for sufferers that I hope will help those of you out there with this terrible condition. Firstly, I've found that taking ownership of the noise is a good first step. By not seeing it as an invader in your mind, you do not label it as a threat and can passively coexist with your sound. Secondly, keeping busy is a huge factor. By constantly striving for your passions, hobbies and self-development, you find that you never have time to focus in on the noise and let it bother you. Thirdly, for reasons that will be explored in another video, I'm an agnostic atheist/atheist, and I understand that I'm only in this world once. I need to make the best of it to truly fulfill my potential. There was a time when I was in a dark, scary place almost constantly, as many of you may be, and did contemplate ways to end my life. It took a lot of climbing to get out. I'm now bothered by my tinnitus about 20% of the week, I would say, and this has continued to improve over the last year or two, largely without support from health services. More recently, I have opened up about tinnitus to support groups, such as the BTA, and further extended my ownership of the condition by participating in Tinnitus Awareness Week, doing an interview for a local paper, and contributing towards the effort to one day achieving a cure. I strongly believe that this is the best way forward, and I hope those of you out there with this condition take something from that. Life is rich with experiences, and I'll be damned if this condition is going to stop me enjoying family, friends, and life experiences. In the beginning, I found it very difficult to read at night, one of my favourite activities, but now it is much easier. As mentioned, you need to find your passions and hobbies, develop your career, and truly pursue a wonderful life, and your tinnitus will take a back seat, even if it is along for the ride. I hope you all found this video useful, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions and offer support below. I'll be very interested in hearing some of your own experiences and advice in combating this terrible condition. To all of the tinnitus sufferers out there, I would like to conclude by expressing my solidarity and empathy. You are not alone in your fight. I will leave you with this. When people with normal hearing are placed in a soundproof chamber, 95% report temporary tinnitus, and that is an encouraging thought, at least to my mind. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts and perspective down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you found this video useful and would like to help me continue to make the best videos possible, please check out my Patreon page. Thank you and take care.